Hey Grace Church, I thought I'd share some encouragement with you that I received even just this morning reading the Bible one-to-one with a fellow Grace Church member. We're currently going through the book of Philippians, and though I longed to be in person with him, reading and enjoying good coffee, it was great to meet over FaceTime and spur each other on. Really thankful for the gift of FaceTime during this season. Can I just read two verses that really spoke to me this morning? Verse 8 of chapter 1, Paul says this: God can testify how I long for all of you with the affection of Christ Jesus. And this is my prayer, that your love may abound more and more in knowledge and depth of insight. Just thinking about the context at that time, Paul is writing in prison, and he started this church in Philippi, and it's probably 15 years since the start of that church. And yet, I was so struck hearing the emotion, the feeling, the love and the longing that are in those words in verse 8. Paul is saying that I long to be with you. It's been all these years and I'm in chains, but my desire more than anything is just to be with you guys. And he says, my longing comes from a place of love. I love you with the love of Christ Jesus. Now that is a standard to love people by. The love of Jesus, no one can compare to that love. And yet Paul is saying here, that same love that Jesus has shown us, I feel that towards you. And I was thinking that's a really great encouragement and a challenge for us during this season. As we're separated, just like Paul from the church in Philippi, let's keep on being intentional at cultivating a love for one another. Let's not let that drop off kind of our radar during this season. We've been looking at it as a church throughout this whole season. It's been significant for us studying 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And Paul is saying here, I've been separate from you for years and years, and yet I love you guys with the same love that Jesus has for us. So let's be intentional at cultivating a love for one another. And then he's also saying then in verse 9, what is his prayer? My prayer is that your love may abound more and more. So let's be cultivating a love, not just for one another, but for God during this season as well. And this is where the door is open. I know currently, if you're anything like me, you're probably feeling busier than ever. You're probably feeling overwhelmed or fearful. I don't know what your situation is right now, but this I want to encourage you with. As the dust settles, God is drawing his people into a place where we can cultivate a love for him. I want to see my love for God abound more and more in knowledge and depth of insight. Looking at kind of my Welsh translation of this, it says, o nerth I nerth, that our love would go from strength to strength. And I pray that our love for one another and for God during this season would go from strength to strength.